powerful. So our culture has to respond to that. We should leave some things and carry other things with us. We're not saying...
Then she's trying to kuzvipembedza kuti they now have my liberties of wearing whatever they want. But girlfriend wako, does she know relevance of going kwatete and stuff? Even if tisiri kuenda kwatete, but why were they going kwatete?
Now people are looking for advices on social media, on YouTube.
On my tit.
On my tit.
You see, nowadays we're being told that a no is a no. And if I have my own principles, I cannot just bend them so that I can just say my husband cheats multiple times.
But then,
niggas always mess with me, but that shit ain't really controversial. I'm an average rapper, no I didn't come for competition. Temptations I avoid, but they think it's lack of exposure. Big steppers on my way, but that don't matter, I will kill them. Niggas always mess with me, but that shit ain't really controversial. I'm an average rapper, no I didn't come for competition. Temptations I avoid, but they think it's lack of exposure. Big steppers on my way, but that don't matter, I will kill them. I came to contradict the most niggas use contraception. The last time I paid a visit, she was the one begging for more. Flexing with the niggas when we know we're on the low. I used to eat my words, but now I just masticate them. Mess up with my gang, then you know you're in a problem. I had to give up when I realized that they're selling souls. Let bygones be bygones instead of enemies, let's be friends. Hustling from morning to sundown, trying to make ends meet. I'm new to the game, so I just feel like I'm...
welcome back, guys, to the reality podcast. And I miss you so much. I know I had not been available for some quite of time, but no worries, guys. I'm back here. I've been preparing for phase 2 of the reality podcast with Alex. Yeah, it's phase 2, my guy. And I'm welcoming you to the reality podcast. So, you know, I want this phase of the reality podcast to be as much as engaging as possible. That's why I've brought some of my guests here so that they can give you their rich insights into the platform and to give advice to young adults out there. So once again, I'm Alex and welcome to the reality podcast. And it's a big announcement and it's a big thing that we're doing here. And today I'm joined by... should I tell the audience, or you guys want to tell the audience who you are?
We can introduce ourselves.
Yeah, you can introduce yourselves.
Hi guys, my name is Elaine Chiroto. I'm doing part 2 in disaster management at UZ.
Nice one.
What's up? I'm Nick, also a colleague of Alex and Miss Elaine. I'm doing part 2 in risk reduction.
Okay, wonderful.
Hi guys, my name is Loice.Hosted and I'm doing my second year in disaster management. I'm also on Instagram. Follow me on Ndi_Zama.
Oh, that girl can smile, eh? No wonder. Are you popular on Instagram?
Not really, but then I try.
I should try with that smell of yours. You can sell. So today, guys, we have an interesting topic, and today we're going to talk about have the youth of today lost their ways or culture, or rather they have simply modernized, because we're living in the 21st century. There is advancement of everything from technology to even how we do our things. Have we modernized or have we lost our culture? I would like to start by asking Elaine so that she can give us some things which she thinks is happening around. Elaine, what is your take?
I think we are now modernizing into a new cultural society where we have a hybrid society. We have global culture, and then we have our own social cultures, our own traditionals and norms and values. So I think we are not delinquent, but we are actually a hybrid culture society, a generation of 2 different cultures intertwined into one.
Okay, so we are not delinquent, as in we're not being mischievous.
Yes, we're not being mischievous. We're just reacting to what we have right now. Because being mischievous means we are going against the social norms or the global norms, but we're just progressing, you know. As time goes on, people progress and we become new people. And we have to understand that culture is not a fixed state, it's a social construct. We agree that this is what we should do and this is what we should not do. So we're not delinquent, we're just progressing.
Interesting. Mr. Nick, you seem to be in You seem like you are not agreeing with there. You seem like to be in word of your own. What do you have to say?
First of all, I think we have to redefine what is culture.
Yeah.
In order to understand where we are standing as a people, as a youth. That's what I think. Because if we just view culture as something that was there and that is evolving, I think we'll be falling into certain traps, acknowledging other cultures as our own, but then eradicating or deleting our own culture. That's what I think.
Okay. Miss Loice, what do you have to say?
First, I'd like to define culture. So here it says culture encompasses a broad range of elements that shape the way of life for a society or a social group. Right? So when we look at this, we are growing, hence we have technology. So we are modernizing, we're adjusting to some of the stuff. You can see that AI is actually advancing. It now does assignments for us. It does a lot of stuff, you see. So we modernize, we adapt to what we have. So in a way, we are not living, but then we are just growing with it, you get. Yeah.
Okay, so far what I've understood so far, your points. Miss Elaine said that we are modernizing and the cultures are intertwining, which means you say that we are adapting, and Mr. Nick,
We are being deviant.
being deviant.
Okay.
So which means now we have created a gap and tapped into another culture. But then we know that whenever there's change, there's conflict. It raises questions. And right now we're not secure about the future because when our culture changes, it changes alongside with how we act, how we dress, how we eat, how we even conduct with our elders.
Spillover effects.
Spillover effects of tapping into another culture.
Yes, culture.
Okay, so now we have issues of social media, and I think it greatly affects our culture. Yeah, and we are now modernizing. I think that is the main tool which is allowing us to modernize.
Exactly.
Okay, now we are being exposed to Western cultures, whereby we're now seeing like some sort of influences in terms of dressing. If I say that now girls are dressing provocatively, am I wrong?
Well, you are not wrong when we talk about context. Where are we? Who are we? And what do we believe and what do we agree on?
Exactly.
So maybe we can say in Zimbabwe, yes, people are now dressing inappropriately. We should not dress like in a provocative way because we should still respect the area that we are in, the society that we're in. We should accept what they want us to do and what they do not want us to do, which are norms and values.
Okay.
So I think even though we're having a hybrid culture, we should understand that context matters. And where we are right now is in a society where we are living in. It's also something of importance, and we should take into consideration to that.
Okay, you raise an interesting point.
Yeah.
It's not just about dressing. There are also how we interact with elders. And can you tell me some of the issues which we're experiencing since we're not tapping into other cultures? You too, tell me what you think.
Okay, so I think first of all, let me start by stating a statement from Mr. Lumumba. It's more political. I know you don't want me to get there, but
It's all right.
he was at a stage saying, if we are to engage at the global platform, the so-called the globalization thing, we are to engage as equal partners, equal participants. We would want a situation where a certain culture overpowers or say brainwashes us. That's what I think. I'll give an example of how we are doing in Zimbabwe right now. You find out that if you ask a youth in the streets, they will tell you everything about what's happening in South Africa, what's happening in America. But back home we have our own social problems that needs to be addressed. Kutotry kukuudza utoti ndozvikuitika unotonoona ndiri kupenga. You want me to tell you about what's happening elsewhere. If you're a champion of change, I think you should first clean up your own house.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay, Miss Loice.
So my point is basically on empowerment and innovation. So if you go back to our roots, right, our culture, we get this side of it was very patriarchal, whereby men were considered more superior compared to women. Women, exactly, women were under men, right? So this whole cultural change, this whole dilemma, it actually brings a powerful side on empowerment, women empowerment. We now have girls who actually value themselves, they take themselves to education and then they upgrade themselves, you get it, at a higher level. You see, whereas back then, men were responsible for, decision making and stuff. And those decision making, sometimes they would really, let's just say, they would be at the girl's disadvantage, you see. She was just supposed to obey, that was all. You see, so these cultural norms that are actually what can I say, modernizing, right? It actually brings a very good thing to the society. It empowers leaders. We now have women banks. We now have women universities. Yeah, they focus more on women empowerment. Exactly.
Okay, interesting. When you talk about empowering women in a society whereby men were more empowered back then, we're not talking about gender equality. Is this so?
Yeah.
Do you think like
I
gender
don't
equality?
think gender equality exists.
But Alex, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
On a more practical note,
Yes.
If your parent tells you that if you sit, if you're caught sitting in the road,
Yeah.
wakatogaram road anzonoita mamota. But then as we grow up, we start to question those things and we find out that wasn't true. But why were they telling you that if you...
There's a reason behind.
So I think our culture is being deviant, because when your culture teaches you to do certain things, then you want to include other things, and you are not considering why you were taught why. Then you are being deviant because you are diverting from the root cause and the root, because those were solutions. You see someone telling you kuti anzi tsumo chezo. If you anditi kuchikoro, then they will ask you what is the meaning of that tsumo proverbs, and then that's why you find that you only know the answers but you don't know the real meaning of the thing.
Okay.
So you are being deviant. Information is power. That's what I would...
Can I counter argue his first point and then respond to the
But I want
argument?
to go back to that issue of gender equality.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, before we go to gender equality, Mr. Lumbube was right. But we should also understand that we are in a world where everything is interconnected. If we did systems theory, it talks about how one thing can affect the other thing. So when you're talking about how you were saying people understand what's happening outside the country but not but not in their own societies, which is wrong, because you should understand what's going on in your own society. However, you should understand what's going outside also affects what's happening right now. So if whatever is happening, for example, the wars that are happening, they can affect our country. So you should understand that the reason why I gave the hybrid culture point is for you to understand, Kuti, everything that we do is connected. There's the networks and the so forth. So our culture has to respond to that. We should leave some things and carry other things with us. We're not saying we should be deviant and we should leave our Shona culture away, but we should connect all the cultures and make one culture so that we understand that everything that we do is connected. Everything that we do is going to affect someone else, or it's going to affect another country.
But would you want...
Yeah, I want to add something.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was attending this business expo.
Yes.
At church, right? So they were telling us that we are modernizing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The world is now modernized at a global scale, right?
Yeah.
Not to just like, you get what I'm saying. So you get to an interview, right? And they don't ask you questions like, what is your passion and what... Nowadays, they just tell you what are you able to do. They give you a computer, they tell you do what you do best. You see, so in a way, when you're taught those cultures, I want to go back to a point of the cultural norms, right? That we had, Kuti, let's say at a business site, right? You are taught you've got a background, a rural background, or you are very cultured, well cultured. You're taught that in front of elders, you're supposed to keep quiet. You talk when spoken to. You or in a business platform, you're taught to maybe you're taught to present. Right, you see that you're amongst elders. They're all grown-ups, right?
Yeah.
And in your mind, you just like you go back to that. I have to be quiet and I have to actually respect them.
Yes.
You see, sometimes we don't need respect. You get it. You need to lay your points out.
So that you get high.
Exactly. So
That's
that you
a
get
high
the attention that they want to get. So if you are still based on those cultural norms and like
But
the elders,
now it's different. I think there are situations where we have to be modernized. For
Yes.
example, in the business sector, in class you have to be competitive against the boys, is a girl, right?
Yes.
Maybe it depends on the situation. But then when you come into the family setup, you have to follow some certain ways. Yeah, when you are even in marriage, you have to know that.
Yeah, I wanted to say something on that point as well. Okay, so when we are taught, when we were growing up,
Yes.
we were told, like what you give an example, do not sit in the road, Nutamamuta and stuff like that, right? We were also told that you knew before you give your father food, you knew before you give even a relative food, right? And when you're greeting, you actually have to bow a bit and greet the elders, right? So when you are,
But
which is
it's
different
still happening now because I've seen sons greeting their fathers.
Exactly.
Big up
I'm
and
saying
stuff.
that there are still families that actually uphold those values and norms. Like for example, where I am from, right? You actually have to bow and actually magadi baba. You get it. You don't just say I did you or something like that, right? Of which it brings that aspect, Yakuti, you were taught like that, and you have to teach your children. That's the respect that you're talking about, right? Of which when your children go, they are going out. Nowadays, people are actually going outside working. There's now urban, more country-to-country migration and stuff like that. You see, so they're going to take those values and norms, and then they're going to go and uphold them there, right? But then you see, Kuti, when I'm now, there are things like when I wanted to ask for Sadza, maybe Poya Bayenzi, and I would want more Sadza. You wouldn't even say it. You just keep quiet because we're raw, right? But then you don't want to beat your child. You're like, I don't want to beat my child. You allow them, you give them, you actually give relationship advices and stuff like that. You are modernizing to the culture.
Are you modernizing or you want to not inflict the pain that you experienced? Is it modernization
But
or is pity?
it brings a point of modernization because I can't give my child a relationship advice.
But there's a reason why that was done. Because at the end, if your child does that,
I think
when you're visitors, it becomes a problem.
I think once you understand why they were teaching you those things and you incorporate them in your own family setup, maybe you deviate from those traditional norms and ways of raising up children and teaching them values of society. But then you start to teach them in a more simpler and effective way.
Which
but
is
then
harmful.
it brings the same results as those that were being taught way back.
Exactly.
So I think we are not saying for that
We have to eliminate
globalization
our-
is bad. It's very good. It comes with very positive impacts and so forth. But then we have to be careful in globalizing and taking other cultures in our own cultural perspectives.
Plus, we should also understand that it's a pick and drop situation. We are just righting our wrongs, or we're righting our elders' wrongs. And we also have to understand that it's not happening everywhere. It's only in towns and cities, and we're all on social media. But most people are actually still, traditional. If you go into rural areas,
70% of our country, 70% of our population resides in rural areas where culture and their social fabric is still strong. A recent study of drug abuse will show you that drug abuse is more prevalent in urban areas where 30% of our population resides.
Yeah, I think it's because that in rural areas it's very easy. Like if you can find a job, you can find a farm, and you can blow and stuff. Because in urban areas, there's the high cost of living and so on that can put pressure on the person.
But I will give you an example of China. Have you ever had a Chinese personnel speaking fluent English?
I know.
In their own country, they don't even do things in English.
We were colonized by. You need to go back to colonization. The colonization era was the one which actually took an impact. Right now, we're still wearing manashashiko, but then those guys brought clothes for us to cover more parts. And you can actually, this is actually fun. Back then, when we wear like things that would just cover our breasts and our private areas, you'd find that there were less rape cases.
Exactly.
Can I ask you something? You see, back then, she's trying to kuzvipembedza kuti they now have my liberties of wearing whatever they want. But then, do you realize kuti from January 2024 to now we are in April 2024, we have more than 1,000 cases of divorce and rape in our courts. The major drivers of those things is that you marry your girlfriend, the one who was born in late 1990s and early 2000s. She doesn't even have an idea of what they were teaching back then. Your wife, girlfriend wako, does she know relevance of going kwatete and stuff? Even if tisiri kuenda kwatete, but why were they going kwatete?
There's a reason behind.
So I think we are being more deviant because divorce cases are rising, and major impact divorce cases that are rising is because
I want to raise a point of wanatete or the aunts. What I've seen happening in our society is that we have a problem of parents making up issues with the aunts. The family setup is being destroyed by petty issues. And then you find a mother telling the daughter, I don't want to shut her now, do not speak with that, don't like her. And so on. That person, that aunt, that tete who was supposed to guide the girl child is now going against the tete. She doesn't like the tete. And so she loses the practical values which she will need as she grows up into marriage or even in her life, how to handle herself. And that culture is now being destroyed. Now people are looking for advices on social media, on YouTube.
on my tete.
On my tete.
But those aunts on social media, they are very toxic because you look at your aunt on social media, she's been married 5 times, divorced their men,
and she wants to give you advice.
And
so
then
Which is bad.
doesn't
But
make sense.
we should understand, Kuti, this is the breakdown of social structures or family structures. And, that's the bad side of hybrid culture or hybrid society, whereby some people now, they don't know what to drop and they don't know what to pick up. And that's when we break everything apart.
I stand to disagree. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let's just say long back, you'd have setups whereby the men were superior than the women, right? And then you'd find out that the man was abusive. But then even the mothers back then or the wives back then would go back to their home states and ask for advice. And they'd be like, as you can see, your father did the same thing. He cheated on me multiple times, but I stayed. I stayed for you guys. So the way it was more of like sacrifice. You get it? The ladies would be treated bad, the wives, the women would be treated bad in these families. But then just because of the advices that they used to get from their mothers as well, they'll be told, that's what happens. It happens. You need to face it and move on. You need to grow through it. You see, nowadays we're being told that a no is a no. And if I have my own principles, I cannot just bend them so that I can just say my husband cheats multiple times.
But then,
get this, we now have HIV and AIDS. I cannot stand in a marriage whereby my husband is a serial cheat, right? And I go back to home and then they tell me it happens. He brings HIV and what then happens?
I also think that the problem is that, you meet people who tell that if your husband is cheating, do the same. And the family setup is broken.
I am not saying, Kuti, if the husband cheats, right, you do the same thing.
It's
I'm
happening.
saying, okay, fine, it happens, right? But then cheating, people are normalizing cheating, right?
Exactly.
And they've normalized it till back then. You see that they came up with solutions. They came up with polygamy. In a way, how would you feel being, your soulmate, your loved one, marrying another person, being a third partner to the marriage? You see, and you just have to stay because you love the person, you sacrifice. Nowadays, you know your values.
That was not cheating. That was it.
I'm not saying it's cheating, right? They gave it
the right
because
to the man.
sometimes you'd be asked to give permission, right? In Zulu, like even in Zim, you have to give permission. You ask for permission. I want to bring a second wife, right? Maybe reasons based.
It was open, right?
Yeah.
But someone once said cheating was a very good business until ladies joined it.
Well, but the problem with her point, though, the reason why I have to disagree too.
Are you a traditional woman?
I'm a traditional person.
Okay.
I'm a traditional biblical person. I'm a Christian.
You can't mix
But
tradition
no.
and Christianity.
Christianity
Because they
traditional
use
religion.
Christianity to transform you from your own
Exactly.
culture to be more.
Oh,
No,
like,
she's
do you-
learning from Christianity at the same time she's learning from tradition. She's not taking
She wants to incorporate Christianity into her own cultural
No, the
thing.
Bible leads us.
Do you know that most of our values, our traditional values, they're just the same with Christian values?
No, I don't. Because when you
What?
start being a
What?
Christian,
Yes.
I'm also a Christian, but I'm thinking of reconsidering that.
But
Because
I do-
when you become a Christian, you even if you go to church, wakapfeka your traditional things, your attires, your costumes, you are not putting on your
The problem
scanner.
is
You
you're
have your
a
own.
churchy and you're not a Christian.
No.
Because you care about what the church is going to say.
The
care
church
about
is
what
going
the
to
Bible
say
says.
when I visit my grandmother,
Yes.
then you have to carry anointing oil because she's the one who is bleaching
It's
me.
the church. You
I
see,
think-
it's the church. That's why I always tell people that I'm a Christian, but I'm not a Christian. I'm not controlled by the church.
You are not religious.
I'm religious.
You
I'm
are
not
a
con-
believer.
Yeah, I'm a bit exactly. Thank you for
I-
saying that.
I-
But let's go to her point. Don't you find it suspicious that when we talk about our culture, we only talk about the bad things?
That's what they made us think.
Yes,
Those
exactly.
colonizers. They made us think that
They made us
our
think that
culture
what
was
we were doing was
very
wrong.
because I have a question.
Yes.
Before those missionaries and Christianity came to Zimbabwe, saka vanhu vese vaifa kusati kwane Christianity kuAfrica vaienda kugena here, even though they were doing zvinhu zvakanaka, because kwakune ng'anga traditional healer yaitobata muroyi was regarded as munhu asiri right, but izvezvi kuchurch ng'anga nemuroyi they are being put in the same bracket. Autoziye different
Because Christianity doesn't care about where you're coming from. It says that the church is full of sinners.
Bishop Maponga says, if you read Matthew 1, chapter 1 until I don't know where, but it will be describing the genealogy of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Iwewe you don't even know your genealogy kubva pana sekuru wako zvichidzokera kumashure. You only know your father.
Yeah.
Why is it happening?
Ukapiwa zita rangu ini ndikapa muzukuru wangu zvinonzi you carry on my spirits angu akashata. Ko zvangu zvakanaka. King Charles or King Ameno, he is the seventh or Ameno. But he still carries on that legacy. I think we should incorporate it.
But what you were saying about those people before Christianity came, did they go to hell? They went to heaven if they were good. Because we have something that's called a structured morality. We have a moral compass. We already know what's good and what's wrong. So those people, if they did good things, even though the Bible says that you should believe in Jesus Christ so that you go to heaven because it's the only way, you should understand that God can, what can I say? We can judge them based on what they did. Were they good or were they bad? Because in Yahweh, say even if you go anywhere, even the mention of Jesus Christ, even if they don't know who Jesus was, as long as they did what was good and what was right, then they're going to heaven. Because those things never change. What's good is always good. What's right is always right. It's different now when we come to cultures. When what we believe with devotion of an devotion, but we have a fixed moral compass in our hearts.
Exactly.
We have God in our hearts.
Exactly.
Enlighten me. We're talking about the youths, right?
Yes.
Youths as well.
Yes.
Okay.
We are the youth.
Right.
I'm a youth.
Yes, we are youths.
Yeah.
We are
Let's be more realistic. What is happening?
You can
right
still be
here,
youth when you are married, and you can still be a youth if
Yes.
you are married.
It's like it depends on the age.
Okay.
But let's go back to the topic.
Yeah, the topic at hand. All right. So we're talking about culture, right? And we're talking about the norms and stuff. I think we did a module on this.
Yes.
Right. So this makes the whole thing interesting, the whole setup interesting. So I wanted to ask you, Nick.
Ask me.
Yes.
You guys were now like from the board.
So before we go further,
Uh-huh.
you representing what on the culture? The modern culture?
Well, you are
I'm hybrid.
hybrid.
I think we are being more deviant.
I'm in between.
He also with
I'm a traditional man.
I'm
I
in
like
between.
a traditional woman.
Okay.
Yes.
even though
Okay.
I'm hybrid, I'm also a traditional.
But
Yeah,
if you
I'm
find a
traditional
traditional
woman as
woman who is pimped with
Yeah, that's
Western things, then she'll be more attractive than your typical.
No, when I say traditional, I don't mean that she should be like
Like a girl who wears a rasta. She's more traditional.
let me define a traditional woman. To me, a traditional woman is a woman who respects me as a being, who likes who carries the social values which our elders and our mothers did. Do you know what I find interesting? That our mothers, the generation of our mothers and fathers, I think those were the last generation which were quite interesting the way calmer than us. I think it was the issue of there was no social media back then because
Social media was there, but then the influence, their social fabric was strong. Our social fabric,
It's now
I think it's being tempered with.
like people when I talk about hybrid culture, I'm just saying, Kuti, we should take some things that are good for us and leave
leave
some bad
some-
things. But then we have like a society where people end up taking the bad things.
It's
and
because
now
of
it's not hybrid. It's like they're taking
the gatekeepers, our gatekeepers who are responsible for informing us. I'm afraid they are misinforming and disinforming us.
I want you to say something.
Ask
yeah,
me
you
the
can
question you
continue.
wanted to ask
This was
me.
getting-
I'm
All right,
waiting for your
let's
question.
say, okay, fine. Before I ask you the question, right? Nowadays, if you look at it, they make gay movies, right? Homosexual movies. Sorry to go a bit off topic, but it is part of
Of the culture.
Yes, exactly. So they continuously make these films because they want you and your mind to actually to adjust.
To be
is the one that's to
Exactly.
accept that
Exactly.
these people
So
exist.
slowly but surely they're just luring you because when you see a gay guy, you're just like, no, it's
Are they lowering me to be gay or they want me to accept that this kind of people exist?
in a way. I want to tell you something that's actually interesting. In a way, they're brainwashing. It's a brainwashing.
It's not more
They
of a
want you to say
brainwash.
it's okay.
Have you
Yes,
ever?
you can also be gay.
So have
They
you?
want you to
They're not saying
accept. You know, back then, you would see someone who would have like girly tendencies and stuff like that. But then, if that person is older brothers to be specific, you one way or another in high school probably you just turn back to be the guy, the normal person.
I think
you see.
I can say this out of experience. I'm a tomboy. Okay. So the thing is, with these gay
She's
movies,
She's
homosexual
boy.
movies, they'll make you think if you're a tomboy, you're also lesbian, which is not true.
Okay.
But
Because personally, the reason why I'm like this is because I used to spend much time with my dad, and I like some of the things that he likes. But at the end of the day, I'm actually straight, and I'm not.
yes, have you
I hope
ever
my
heard?
parents don't watch this, but anyway.
Have you ever heard of what they term reverse psychology?
Okay.
Yeah.
So they place a thing there, think you that they make you think that it's whatever they want you to think. Then
Yeah, okay.
later on, wawe guy, the thing comes back. Iwe ndikakudzisa kuti malesbian akashata mumovie. Imovie content yavo inobva ya
Get censored.
yobva yanzi iri right ne-broadcasting authority whatever. But then iwe wawega then you see zvinhu zvezve zvakuitika. Reverse psychology inokutaurira kuti it's there, zviripo, you have to encompass it inside you. Saka zvangu I think
It's funny
Trikurasika.
because they sponsor those shows.
Yes.
They actually give them more money.
They are even giving out scholarships.
Exactly.
Exactly.
For the
I-
LGBT.
Yeah, the reason
I
They
saw
are
that.
open to LGBTQ, but then they're not open. Like they're still racist.
Be careful
Yes,
of
In,
what
in
you
our
say.
country, it's not like we've not adjusted to that extent.
I think we're a bit quiet about it. We're not reading.
But slowly but surely, they're actually growing.
You
Yeah.
know, there's that guy who was even in prison too. That famous guy on the internet who says, "Why are you gay?" You remember
Oh
that?
yeah.
That guy was actually imprisoned because he was against that. But
Was it in Uganda?
yeah, it's in
Yes, in
Uganda.
Uganda.
So it will take us for
Yeah, it was arrested.
it will take us time to adjust as a country.
Still,
Yeah, it will, but it depends by what are we going to do right now. We are not homophobic, but then we just want people to respect our own culture. If we respect yours, just respect ours. And if you say, well, homosexuality, there's something wrong with it, they're just saying it, but then I don't think people hate homosexuals. They just don't like what they're doing or the influence that they have on
but
people.
as Isusu being from a third world region, atina power yekuzota counter advocate.
Yeah, because they are now human rights. You get the sense because they are powerful nations and stuff who are actually supporting the things.
And your
We
Pope
still need
and
their
your Pope
help.
will be blessing same-sex marriages.
Yeah.
I like what those African bishops are doing. Thumbs up to
Yeah,
them.
even for United Methodists, we had that issue where they were saying we should bless gay marriages. And, Pakaitikano is because now the United Methodists in Zimbabwe specifically wants to separate with other churches because of that issue. But we should now, this is where we talk about a hybrid culture, where we are saying, Kuti, even though these homosexuals, they are here, those are the disadvantages of like having a globalized world, and we should understand with you some of these things. We should really look into them before we accept.
But I think these things are now happening more. I think back then we did not have such kind of issues.
Do you know why?
Yeah.
Because back then, Isusu, when we came, Isusu ama 2K.
Yes,
Mina,
yes.
I'm proud ama 2K.
But
But then you have to understand kuti patakauya Isusu ndo pakatanga kuitika economic hardships. Ndo nguva ISAP and stuff takazvarura munhamo. Ndo chokwadi chaichacho.
you are giving that excuse.
No, I'm not giving an excuse. I'm stating it as a fact. In as much as we want to develop as Africans or as Zimbabweans, because you realize that our parents are migrating. Isusu ama 2K vabereki vedu ndo vakaita more privileged kuenda ku UK. Taisiwa inini most of my friends waisiwa with your uncles, your guardians with limited supervision. You tend to be more, you have more freedom than your other peers. You tend to experiment more. Ndo paunenge uchivharira vasikana vakawanda because you have that freedom. Were exposed kuma drugs. Mamwe zvimwe zvinhu zvinoitika is because of influence economy, because our parents migrated.
But I also think that even when you say that we the youth are losing culture, we also have to blame our parents.
Yes,
And
we started with them.
they play a role which is silent, but that we are not having enough time with them.
But if we are onto that, we should also understand that
It
our
is too silent.
our grandparents also thought that our parents were losing their culture.
Our grandparents were very good because
No, I'm saying that they thought that our parents were losing their own values and norms. And so it happens with this generation. That's why I'm saying that we are progressing. We're not being
the only thing that is constant on this earth, on this planet, is change.
Yes.
We have to change,
Exactly.
either we like it or not. But how we change,
Much in zero.
It's
It's
not
determined,
changing,
is-
just say
Progressing.
adapt.
Yeah, adapt.
we don't have to adapt to anything. We don't want to adapt. We have to change. We have to evolve, not to change. We are evolving. Our culture has to evolve.
Adapting is kind of
Evolving means you are coming from a lesser bottom stage, going up and up. But
Alright.
we are degrading because our social culture and our fabric was very intact, was very positive.
But you should understand that even our culture is also influencing other cultures out there.
Like what? Because we don't.
Maybe music.
There are a lot. Let's go to music. We now have Amapiano. It's being listened.
Have you ever listened to the message that they are spreading on those songs? Zviri kuimbwa neculture nebeat yedu nelanguage yedu nelinguistics yedu, but message yacho iri kuspreadwa imomo. What everything that is meant for us without us is against us. I must say this. Music yatiri kuteerera is against us. I am very much against amapiano imwe inoimbwa. If you listen kune imwe music yaimbwa nana bebu yakabatwa nemadrugs akafa weku South Africa, aita zvemadrugs but aimba
aimeno makanjani
ameno ira yavo, but
Brenda
Fassie. We realize kuti vaitospreadawo imwewo agenda yavo in their music. Music they take Michael Jackson, they sponsor him to spread message yekuti isusu we have to westernize in our minds. We have to accept kuti you molest my small
Before
boys.
you got there, no, music is art, and art is meant to be appreciated.
But those gatekeepers, do you know the guys who...
It's not your own choice and your own selection. We have genres, different. We have gospel. You choose what you want.
But
So if you find
You isolate and you destroy. I isolate you. You in your own state of mind, you think this is good, then they destroy you. They are feeding you information that is very
a young kid who's about 15 years and below doesn't have the mental capacity.
Akuterera trap iri kunuza kuti I'm going to shoot that.
Censorship maybe is extreme, but
Because
maybe guidance.
the guys who own those record labels, they actually have mandates to. Have you ever seen what happened to Winky D recently? His song was taken down, and but it's more.
Yeah.
Let's not get there, but you get what I'm trying to
No,
say.
it's part of
My
the culture.
gatekeepers, they control what you communicate. Music, yana Bob Marley, yema Rasta. Have you ever listened to what they were saying in Mamusong yao?
Marriage one is good.
No,
Yeah,
that's what they want you to think. Those guys, they wanokupa information. Marasta, they are very violent because they smoke. They do what they
don't
do.
smoke,
But do you realize kuti mu message yake I song yao ya Bob Marley in 8 minutes, in 6 minutes dzekutaura ma Bible verses. Aina prominence.
we can't tell everyone you get.
Yes.
It's your choice. That's what she's saying. Hybrid comes with advantages and disadvantages. You choose to select and you choose to focus.
But
on
our youths are impressing ma negative.
I want to tell you something that's funny. Do you know, Kuti, as we grow, we actually mature.
Yes.
Right? To a point that I listened to hip hop when I was in high school. Like I was vibes on vibes. But now if you actually look at my genre, it's actually full of gospel. There's some things that you do and then you just and you end up living them because they're not you. That's when the cultural aspect comes back. Your culture, it follows you wherever you go. You end up just saying,
Yeah,
this
because
music
the
is not
lifestyles
for me.
portrayed in music
Exactly.
videos, some of they're fake.
So
Because every girl's role model is Rihanna. If Rihanna puts on a certain hairstyle, all right. Not every. Let me restructure my sentence. Those famous girls who are responsible for role modeling our girls in Zimbabwe, they are following my trends, are coming from the Western
And
part.
it affects the way they dress.
You see,
I'm
Rihanna
very sure.
becomes pregnant and she shows a
baby.
tummy, and then
People are going
it's
to
a trend
follow
in
shows.
Zimbabwe. It's a trend.
On the clothing issue, I want to go to come back to what you call it?
Want to defend?
Colonization.
Want to defend?
No.
Let me tell you
No,
a
I want
secret.
to go
Let me
back,
tell you
yeah.
a secret. Drake puts on his beard, and then Alex is.
now I have to be.
I actually agree. I like Drake very much. He has influenced me from a young age. And I get to listen to Drake. It's
Thomas
my God.
Mpofu speaks on something that is more productive, and then nobody wants to listen to you.
But you are listening
Okay.
to Thomas.
I have to be honest with that. I very careful about the way I choose my artists because I listen to art, I listen to the message, and I listen to how these people can help me. When I look at Drake, it's very like a person who has come from muddy scenarios to
Yeah, you can relate.
I can
Like
relate.
most of those
And then
artists.
there's also like a person who's like Jetro. He puts out inspirational messages, and then we have someone like Kendrick Lamar. I listen to him. There's someone who's very creative.
Why are we? Oh, this is what I'm talking about.
I'm talking
cultures.
about.
He's talking about Western rap.
I'm talking about how we can take the positive.
We have Jeffries here
Yeah.
in Zimbabwe. He sings, his music is so good, you can actually vibe to it.
We have Wallington too. We
Yeah.
have Wallington.
The
We
log
have
so is
Ricky.
the inspo for the logs, it's Jeffries.
I would like to commend Oliten on the work that he's doing.
Oh my
Oliten is dear leader of my youth. Like it or not,
Samanyanga
I don't listen. I don't like him. Kuti have a role model or something, but the message that he's spreading, if you listen, ari kutry kutouza kuti kwatiri kuenda nekwatiri kubva
It's not good.
Yeah.
It-
But
it's
then
about
anozoisawo
it's because they've noticed that our culture is shifting. It talks about the girl culture.
empowerment.
It talked about that song where he said, and stuff, and it talks about Vaskana.
Shout out to Oliten.
And my most favorite song, Delilah.
He's telling the boy child to be careful of girls. Girls sometimes are not good.
You
So,
and those.
shout out to him.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about colonization, bringing in the war clothing issue and stuff like that. In English societies, they're taught that if you're skinny, you've smooth skin and stuff, you've made it. You get it. They actually portray their body.
So you have to show skin.
Exactly. Whereas, because they were born that way, it's rare to find a white person who is fully attached, like very curvaceous. Unless there are implants or something like that, it's very rare. If you can find someone, a white person who has got a really good feminine structure, they're actually famous. They're very, very popular. They become like they have 2 billion followers and more.
So, in
Instagram,
other words, you are
right?
saying varungu vakashata kudarika vanhu vatema.
No, I'm saying Kuti. We as blacks, right?
Chakanaka
let's come
udarika
back
varungu.
to us as blacks, we have melanin, and biologically, it's actually proven that we are more attractive than men. A white person can actually wear a bum shirt, a bikini, and actually walk miles, and you wouldn't even know.
But then I want to say that
Is Kim black or white?
Kim,
The Kardashian one.
She's
she's white.
So the white dress is beautiful.
You're attracted to her.
Alright.
But I want to say that those people are showing skin and it's okay in their culture. But
Yeah.
then when I grow up,
No, I want to go back to that point. I want to say when I wear a bikini, I end up feeling uncomfortable because of the stairs.
not
I'm
that
scared
I'm not
a lot.
pushing giant.
Exactly. No, because some of us, okay, let's say I go for swimming, I swim. Obviously, I show skin, you get it. But then when I go to a public setup and actually, show skin, I actually get uncomfortable because of the stairs.
People will be looking at
Right,
you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm walking besides a white person.
There is
right?
a dress for every event.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to dress her accordingly.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying, Kuti, in that norm, people, in us as a society, we are taught that we have to dress delicately.
Can I ask you something?
We have to be traditional.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
If I marry you, if let's say we are married, how would you expect to save my father food whilst dressing like Nicki Minaj?
I wouldn't say I would dress like Nicki Minaj.
But
Exactly,
that's where
like
we're
what you
going.
said, there's a dress for every event.
Yes.
Let's close that
And
down.
context
No,
like
it's
that.
not that there is a dress from every event. He has his preferences. As a guy, he's supposed to dress in a certain way.
And you won't approach me when I'm in a Nicki Minaj.
Who said that? Beauty is
So you're the problem
beauty
if
is
you're
beautiful
approaching
when
and you
it's
want it to change.
enveloped.
Huh?
You're the problem if you're approaching a dressing like Nicki Minaj and you want it to change.
Exactly.
No,
Why do you
inenge
want
ya
to-
problem yemuna
You
approach.
go to you have your certain preferences.
I want to say something to the boys out there. When you approach a girl who you know that ndo ma preferences unoda. Even akasangana did vako mtown. Ombotchi.
Unenge
Yes.
wabayizwa ne-gesture, Alex. Gesture inenge yakunyanyonaka. Because unenge waona those thighs and then you become disfocused.
And you choose the wrong girl. It will be your fault.
It should be your fault.
But then inini I'm coming from my phone. Ndikuona video latest richangobuda and I find this girl atori exactly like a protege arikubva muvideo rananchiona. Because no message spread wakuti you have to be in a certain looking way.
Okay,
You have to look like
makes-
this to be attractive. And it inini msikana wangu akapfeka majavu abudisike pamavideo.
Which means you have to look for that girl. And when you take a girl who wears Javas, you don't complain because it's your fault.
There are some men who actually tell their women, when you're out there, you dress properly. But then when you're inside, you can actually wear your
But then my ladies then are pure yakadaro privilege. Anoti anzi
it's not a privilege. I think I approach her. I just want to know and but to know, baby, you wear this when we're together. But then when you're going out there, try to show less skin.
Yeah, if we're in relationships, you just say,
But
be
when-
able to compromise.
When you
And
say
you end
that,
up adjusting as well when you grow, as you grow.
when you meet some people like that, you tell them that you have to do this on a certain thing. You have to show less skin when you're at a certain
Exactly.
event.
Yes.
They will think that you are
Being
controlling.
protective.
He's
Okay.
overprotective.
But no, you're not being protected because when you dress as a girl and when you walk in the streets, you're actually representing what I like as a man.
Yeah.
And even when you dress inappropriately, my guys out there will think that Alex like this kind of girls, that's his taste. Well, no, I don't like that. So you have to be careful on how you dress because you're not just dressing for yourself.
It's also from our department of when we will be doing our books. They will be telling you kuti you have to be gender responsive or gender sensitive. That's engaging women every part of decision making, from the designing, implementation, and monitoring of your projects and programs and policies. But empowerment is okay.
But then I want to get to that point.
if
Gender equality.
we are engaging them
Yeah.
in our decision making processes, what substance are they bringing in on the table? Do they have something that is more productive? Or
I once saw a video on TikTok where the girl was asked, "What do you bring to the table?" She said, "Me."
and you find out that
Now that's your choice. You go to someone who is unemployed, they are not educated, they're the breakthrough of their family. When you marry them, you can't just expect yourself to buy your mother a coat when your mother is not, and she cannot afford. So you end up buying both coats with your own money. Now that's your choice. You choose the women that you want in your life. You choose the type of women. Let me just say, me as a person, right? I do things that I want, what can I say? I dress the way I want to dress because I want some type of a dude that I want. You get what I'm saying? So I
But
dress.
you get a nasty dude. Someone who will be interested in your body.
I'm
Alex.
not saying, do you know that there are people who actually, let's just say they're also modern men
Yeah.
and modern women, right? So if you're modern, you actually attract modern men. I cannot be, a cultural man cannot be attracted to me when I'm in a crop top and showing more skin.
So you're not going to
Obviously,
look for a cultural man.
Exactly. You
So-
attract, what you do attracts who you're gonna meet. Opposite, but then there's a saying that opposite attracts.
But
So-
do you realize
It's
do you,
risky because when men want to marry at a certain age, they will not look for those kind of girls.
But
But-
it depends,
It
you know.
depends.
Some men are actually marrying this type of girls.
do you know what's happening today,
Yes.
Alex?
Exactly, guys.
They are
That's
modernizing.
The
Yeah.
problem is you guys, you're
Yeah,
just
just-
concentrating on yourselves and what Shadaya says and the likes. But if you really explore this country or this world, you realize that there are modern guys that actually want to make these type of girls.
Okay, but there's still.
But
risky.
inini zvangu, I've never heard of a man saying kuti I have 5 wives. And then my first wife is a lawyer, my second wife is a doctor, my third wife she's this and that. My wives are actually essay, they will be housewives.
I'm not.
Nick Cannon, bruh.
And
Exactly.
Nick Cannon, bruh.
Exactly. He's.
And Temba Mlis for 2.
Let me say my
There are opportunities
dad.
out there. There are opportunities out there. So most of girls are employed.
unoziva kuti kudhara inini kana ndichienda unorora inenge iri marriage, a cultural marriage, inenge iri marriage between my family and her family. It's a marriage between families. Now it's a marriage between me and her. Saka whatever we are doing in our relationship is between us, and it doesn't even consider children. It's so painful kuti vana they are suffering because once parents separate, it's disastrous for the children.
Yes, it gives a ripple effect on the children.
And you see kuti mayouth mazhinji taking in drugs anenge sitomori problem yake ka because haana stable father figure, haana munhu ari kumuudza kuti
Yeah, I wanted to say one thing that the Shona culture neglects, that your culture neglects, right? Us men, exactly. That you neglect is family therapy and family counseling.
Exactly.
Those are the advantages of hybrid
culture.
right?
Where we have to listen to our children.
To what your children want to say. The children have opinions. Everyone has an opinion. They have some things that you know. One thing that makes the whole culture thing very funny is that you can't backchat your mother even when she's wrong. You have to agree. You can't even tell whether she's wrong, right? Whereas when we modernize, your children, you are saying exactly. I want to take your point and derive it from there. You're saying that the children end up suffering. Do you give the children time to speak for themselves as well? You're trying to correct the wrongs that your parents did, and not make serial things of what they did and completely.
We're not saying leave our culture. We're just saying you have to, engage other cultures, see how are they dealing with these issues, so that we right.
You see, family therapy saves a lot of divorces. The reason why family therapy fails, in most cases, is the men. They have those ego things that they have that they say, I can't tell someone who is a stranger what goes on in my household.
And if you look at this, we used to have other family members that would help us and say, yeah, and the like. But then these people are now, moving to other countries, and then our families are now really nuclear. They're no longer that extended as they used to be. So we have to check the Western culture of going to family therapy.
It's a complete stranger who's just giving you advice, who's listening to both points. With men, right, you guys have got egos. You're always correct. You're always right? Well, when I, as a woman, I have got some points that I know, Kuti, I'm under you, I submit. But then there's some of the things that you need to reflect as well. It's not supposed to be a must that women should reflect only. Both us, because the marriage, when it fails, it's both parties.
Okay, you talk about a woman being under you submissive. Do you believe in gender equality?
No. Gender equality. Let me just say, people are just.
From
No.
the Muslim perspective, men and women are equal, but they are not identical, meaning that we have to engage them equally.
No.
I think they're equal in terms that we are humans, but
we are not identical. So we don't have
as a Christian, like I said, I'm a Christian woman. The Bible says that a woman should be submissive to a man, and a man should be like Christ, the leader of the woman and protect the woman. The problem now is that people are taking this out of context. They think that if the man is the leader, I'm going to control her. But then you understand that the Bible doesn't talk about equality in that context. We can do everything together because God knows what a
woman should be a helper, not a lead, not always leading everywhere. Have you ever seen, even in parliament, how many women are there?
In the world, less than 20% of people are in the parliament.
In a recent study that I found out, 17%, there's only 17% of women who are in parliament globally, worldwide. And you see that women, there's a reason why there's that. Women tend to get emotional on things which do not have to be emotional about. Men have composure, are able to do things more efficiently. Women are more scared of heights. That is why men risk their lives getting more skyscrapers. Men take the hard work. Do you know, if a woman can cry for gender equality, but if we can tell her to get into a field and dig, she'll be saying, I'm tired.
Do you know the basis of our was the document containing our laws of the country?
Okay.
Constitution.
Our constitution. Do you know where they derived that from? Chakavakupichi constitution.
Okay.
It's not a copy and paste thing from the Westerners. It's actually crafted from our own culture, from the what do you call that? The cultural code. Mtemoye ndo yakacraft our constitution.
Okay.
And then Ininoko, as a disaster manager, I'm a disaster manager. I will tell you that engaging women and children, some child-centered policies, women-centered policies. It's actually good for our on planning response and recovery to disasters. We have to include them, but we have to be mindful of how we are including them. For example, women have strategic positions. They can.
I think gender equality to some point is good, but the way women takes it or perceives it is wrong. By trying to empower women, they are now like seeing us like they are. Like Tafanana, exactly.
But the problem is, the reason why I say I don't believe in gender equality, if we are all equal, then we won't focus on like necessary things that we're really good at. For example, women are good when it comes to emotional care rather than men, and men are good when it comes to physical care.
We have to carry out a gender analysis.
Yeah, so if we say if we say gender equality, blah blah blah, then it means that we are losing focus on what we're really good at. As women, we should focus on what we really
are good at, and it brings out the best in you as a woman.
If we're giving emotional care, then we should focus on that. If men are giving physical care, then they should focus on
men
that.
are the providers.
If I say that,
something,
in this courts, if you ever looked at like in the constitutions and the parliaments and stuff like that, most 70% are the 80s men, the oldest. Exactly. If we actually have to change laws, give empowerment to youths, you'd find out that by 2050, the parliament will be 50-50.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. It will be 50-50.
If gender equality is implemented well.
If it's implemented well, it's actually going to be 50-50.
But I don't like the fact that every time whenever girl sisters have been raped by a guy, the police will eventually say it's true. Because it's like now you are supporting what Jetro and but the issue there should be investigation.
There should be investigation.
I think they're working on that.
Yeah.
That's hence the new foreign
the
policies.
reason why we are at this point is because of radical feminism. People became radical, like women should be put on top. That's why I'm saying there's no gender equality. Because these radical feminists, they don't promote gender equality. They say women are better than men.
And they destroy our natural setting.
Women have their own capacities. That are different.
At least you agree on something. But you actually find that there are some situations whereby we are both intelligent, we are both good, we are both good at what we do. What can you say about it? When we are both compatible, we have the same qualities, we have everything, we're in the same field, and we are competing for the same goal. Maybe it's a post, maybe it's a manager position.
But then the mobility patterns will then limit you.
What mobility?
Excuse
all those.
He's trying to say the physical factor on some.
What about
a management position? What physical factors would affect me?
Okay, guys, because of time. Anyways, guys, that was me, Alex, on the podcast, and today I'm very glad that we have this discussion. And I think these people were very good. Elaine, being the traditional woman, laid some points, interesting point on how some women should take some aspects of the modern culture in some of our traditional factors and implement them and leave the best side of the things. And Nick, I think we should be studying law or something like that.
I'm thinking of enrolling when I finish my
That is very good because you should do the things which you are passionate about. And Loice, thank you for sharing some of those good insights. Guys, I want to thank you. You made this debut episode of the Daddy Podcast Phase 2 a success.
And we also want to thank you, Mr. Alex, for hosting us.
Hopefully we have a part 2 because we have more to discuss.
I'm sure there will be.
Yes.
I'm sure there will be other engagements in the future. And guys, that was me again. And please do like, comment, and subscribe, and share the link of the podcast to others in this video. And
wait, what job suits me according to this whole conversation?
I think
she has to be a news anchor.
No, women advocacy, I think.
Exactly. Our against Nick.
But then your Rasta will tell us you are more of a traditional woman.
Anyways, so guys, please keep supporting me. I'm seeing the rise in views and subscribers. Please do share the link to others and let us meet next time.
Do you follow us on Instagram?
Yeah, follow us on Instagram.
TikTok, Facebook we're there.
Peace.